He began working at Walmart as project manager and has served in numerous financial capacities throughout his career there. He attended Oral Roberts University and spent his senior year studying abroad in Valencia, Spain. Earned his MBA at Missouri State University. Please welcome MEL2016 speaker Ralph Clare.
My name is Ralph Clare, and I'm from the Bahamas. This is how I introduce myself to every audience, every meeting, every charity event. My name is Ralph Clare, and I'm from the Bahamas. Usually I get a few looks. What are you doing here? Who is this guy? It's an amazing story, interesting path, how I got to where I am now. The topic, when we discussed it, thinking big, starting small, definitely fit me. So a lot of interesting things as it relates to people, locations, influences, kind of had to all come together perfectly to allow me to be in a position to be here today. And I never really thought about it. So when Charo hit me a few months ago and said, hey, would like for you to speak, my response was, I don't think I have anything to talk about. No, it's nothing major. I just went to school like everybody else, got a job, and I'm working. In life, sometimes you don't take a second to pause. And Charo gave me a cause to pause. He said, it's not that simple, Jane. Now again, like I said, I introduced myself as Ralph Clare. Everybody that's known me for over 15 years knows me as Gene, or Eugene. It's my father's name, the second. Similar to Charo, wanted to change things up. Call me Gene or call me G. So, took a cause to pause and looked up and realized that there is something I have to talk about. There is a story for me to tell. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. This morning is going to be my first part, which is just kind of how I got to where I am. And tomorrow I'll talk about my strategies for success and how to get started. Where I am is I am financially responsible for giving strategic guidance, providing analyses for forecasting a multi-billion-dollar portfolio in the world's largest company. I've managed P&Ls that, just because of the fact that it's the world's largest company, essentially larger than the GDP of this country. I never really thought about it that way. It's, like I said, it's just work. But anyway, I won't give too much away. I'll talk about my story here. So, humble beginnings in Columbia, Missouri, and moved to the Bahamas a year later. So my parents went off to school with their 2 children from the Bahamas to Columbia, Missouri, University of Missouri, and had me. I came along, happy, just doing my thing, as usual. A year later, they moved back to the Bahamas. Grew up here, went to St. Augustine's College, graduated, decided, hey, it's time to go off to school. It's nothing that I really ever thought about, like, as an option. It was always something I just had to do. Growing up, it was lesson, lesson, lesson. Always learn your lesson. Always education. Keep it simple. Study. And there are a lot of influences through that time period that kind of helped me to stay on that path of education, and knowing what you want to do and figuring it all out. At a very young age, I worked. It's funny. I worked in a food store. Food store was my first job, packing groceries at age 11. At that particular time in my life, I realized a few things that has helped me even to this day. One, it's good to have money. It's great. At age 11, I could buy whatever I wanted. Get any ice cream that I want, toys that I wanted. I paid my own vacation. My dad still talks about that to this day. To my sisters, they hate it. You know, your brother used to pay for his vacation. When you were kids, you know, he's doing that since he was 12. So I understood that money changed things and allowed me a lot of power and control over the things that I wanted to influence. At that time, it's ice cream and toys. Things have changed a little. Um, and I learned that people were very important, and that if I learned to observe and figure out what people were motivated by, I could get results that I wanted to have. So just by adjusting my approach just a tad, I can get them to do something differently than they might have done originally. And so at a very young age in his country, and just because of the amazing diversity, even though when you think about the Bahamas, you think about kind of lack of diversity, essentially other islands, extremely diverse, and was able to interact with different types of people at different times in my life, and carried that skill of understanding people's motivations all throughout. So anyway, fast forward, take that experience, time to switch things up and go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma, bad idea, right? So my parents came and said, hey, you're going to Oral Roberts University. I said, hey, I'm not. I have other options. I'm going to Florida. University of Florida, maybe Florida State if I feel like it. There's a lot of cool, fun, party schools nearby that I can go to. Mom said, here's the deal. Go to Tulsa, go to Oral Roberts University. Oral Roberts University? Is that some type of like infection? Oral Robert? Like bad idea, something happens, you ate something, you got an Oral Robert. I thought it was just something, I didn't know what it was, Oral Roberts University. And she said, hey, you're going there? Because a friend of mine went there and he's highly successful. I said, all right, cool, whatever. If I don't like it, I'll transfer. Went to Oral Roberts University, and essentially, it changed my life. And it's not so much the university. It was the people that I was surrounded by, the connections that I made, the interactions that changed the way I thought about the world in general. There's two things that I took away. One, the importance of equilibrium, of body, mind, and spirit. Like Charles said, he enjoys working out. I think that's something that we all, if you took it seriously, understood the value of keeping your body in good shape, keeping your mind in good shape, and ensuring that your spirit is taken care of. Something that I learned there and applied to my life. Secondly, friends. Found some good colleagues that really changed the way I thought about myself, gave me a level of confidence that I don't know if I went there with. I started reading at Oral Roberts University a lot, just because of the people that are around and the visions that they had for themselves. And I said, oh, I'd like to do that too. That sounds cool. Very simply put, surrounding myself by the right people and adhering to the principles that were taught at the school helped to set the foundation for some of the success that I was able to have not too long after. So graduated. Shortly before graduation, went to Valencia, Spain, spent a few months there, had the great opportunity to immerse myself in a culture that was completely strange, right? Everywhere I go, nobody looks like me. That's kind of like where I live now in Arkansas. But anyway, everywhere I go, nobody looks like me in Valencia, Spain. But huge culture, it's coming out of their pores, the pride in their country. It's a picture of the bullfighting stadium that I kind of was able to walk past on a daily basis to go to class. It provided me with confidence to exist in an area on a location that in most cases would be very uncomfortable. I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anybody. Nobody looked like me, I didn't speak the language. Now I was supposed to have speak the language, I'd spoken the language, I studied Spanish since like 8th grade, but still wasn't fluent. But went there, was successful, got the credits that I needed, learned a lot about myself, and started a relationship with a young lady that helped to propel me into a different mindset. I'll talk more about that later. Right now, actually, her. Now, most of the stories that you find when it comes to us men is it usually starts with a girl. There's this young lady, we then did this, blah, 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 whatever. Now I run the world, right? Usually it's a story that happens like that, right? I met this lady, now I run the world. So this young lady was amazing. It's my wife, Lorraine. And she was very instrumental at that time with helping me to think differently about how I thought about other people. Now, come from the Bahamas, you get interactions with different types of people, and you learn a lot about people here. But that doesn't mean that you change your mindset about how you look at people or how you judge people. And that's what she was able to do for me. Help me to change my mindset about how I viewed others. Not just kind of like a chameleon and just being able to exist where everybody else is and be successful, but how to truly open my mind and accept those that were different than me, that looked different than me, that operated different than me. And that's what essentially allowed me to be successful in Valencia. So not long after, went back to the Bahamas and essentially said, all right, cool, I'm coming home to work. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to quickly rise to the top, and I'm going to take over and have a good time in my country. That did not happen, clearly. Came back home, was very excited. Applied for a job. Just came back with a degree from Oral Roberts University. Spanish minor. Spent some time in Spain. Beautiful resume, great resume. Got offered a job as a teller. Okay. Got offered a job as a teller. This young lady, I called her, I said, how dare they? They don't know who I am. Hire me as a teller? What an embarrassment. I got to work. My supervisor had graduated from high school a year before. I said, this can't be real. There's no way. I was very impatient back then, and not long after, probably 3 weeks, I quit. I said, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm going to start my own business. Called up Charles. Hey, we're going to start a business. We're going to call it Claimant. We got all kind of great opportunities out there. Let's go and grab it. At the time, we knew absolutely nothing, just simply put. So, called Charo. We started up this business. We were getting ready to do a few things. We're going to Freeport. And this is real stock. This is happened this exact same way. So, worked for, like I said, a few weeks, quit, and started this business and started looking at opportunities to expand our enterprises here in this country. We were about to take a trip to Freeport to look at some real estate. Now keep in mind, I didn't have any money. I don't even know what I was doing, to be quite honest. But I had a vision and I knew what I was gonna do, right? So, but I had no clue. Anyway, going back to my story. So, we're about to go to Freeport. Charles calls me. Pop, hey, ready to go? It's gonna be awesome. Got some great things to do. Can't wait. Gonna get the scooters ready. We're gonna have such a great time. Charles said, hey, I'm not going. I said, what? I'm not going? I said, I'm not going. I said, why not? He said, hey, Pops wants to talk to us. I said, what did you do? What did you say? Did you sell it to him? Did you tell him what we were supposed to do? What's happening? He said, hey, I did my part. Pops wanted to talk to us. So Pops clearly Dr. Miles, and went into that room, into that office. I was very nervous, but I had in my mind what I was going to say, because he didn't know anything about what we were trying to do. No clue. All right, I got this. So I go in, I sit down, and he starts talking. I probably said like 2 words, because everything that he said was exactly what I needed to hear, which is, you don't know anything yet. Okay, that's fair. All right, whatever. He said, you're not done with your education, Eugene, until you got your master's. I said, all right, cool. I'll do that. Then what you gonna say? All right. So not long after, studied for the GMAT. See, and that's one thing that I do really well. I listen to people that I respect, and that's the key. You respect somebody, they give you guidance. You listen to people that you respect. So he gave me that guidance, went off to school, found a school that was as close as possible to this young lady that answered me the quickest. So my strategy with schools was, I said, I'm going to apply to these schools, and whoever answers me first, I am going there. I did that at Oral Roberts and a couple other schools, and I was like, what is the chance that Oral Roberts was the first to answer me back out of all these awesome schools. Anyway, so did the strategy again. Missouri State called me. Went to Springfield, Missouri. Again, another one of those locations where it's like, there's nobody around here that looks like me. What am I doing here? And I don't speak the language. If anybody went to Springfield, Missouri, it is a little different. But it's a great place. Went to Missouri State and essentially was under the guidance under these individuals. My parents, essentially, that would be on the left, and Dr. Miles on the right. And I think that's the same look he was giving me when I was telling them what I planned on doing. All right, that's probably the same look and a little bit of this right here. But under the influence of these folks, I went to school with a new vision. A vision of getting out of this world what I felt as though was mine, and doing it based on a very clearly defined approach. Because before, when I started talking about, hey, these are the things that I wanted to do, I had no structure. It was just ideas. But when you go and get your master's under his guidance, like he said, and my parents' guidance, once you go get your master's, one of the things it does is it helps you to think about things differently. You essentially learn how to problem solve. That's what you go there for. So out of that experience, I essentially learned how to think about things, how to structure my thoughts, how to structure my plans, how to be realistic with my expectations. Not too realistic now, because you don't want to have goals which you can easily accomplish. You don't want to do that. You want to have something that's what you call the stretch goals. So I had stretch goals. I put things in place that I felt as though would help me to do that, and I felt as though I was ready to be successful. Now, one thing about schools, it really doesn't matter what university you go to. I've worked for individuals that have Harvard degrees. I have individuals that work for me that have Ivy League degrees. I came from Missouri State University. It's not about what school you go to, because at the end of the day, all you're looking for is, at the end of the day, to be honest, is a job. Everybody's looking for the same thing. You go to Harvard because you're expecting to get a great education and, oh, by the way, a guaranteed placement. You go to Missouri State, it's a little trickier. It's usually not that easy, just because of the fact that you're competing with your Ivy Leagues and your top schools for very enviable jobs. But I lucked out. I was blessed. Put my resume up there, did my part, like I said. I understood what I needed to do to be successful, make sure I had a pretty good, robust resume, put it up to the school website, tried to hit the job fairs, nothing too aggressive. But I knew what it is I had to do. So I did those things. Got a call, pop, hey, Walmart wants to talk to you. Walmart wants to talk to me. I don't want to go to Walmart. Walmart, I'm going to New York, okay? That's where I'm going. Charles up there, we're gonna have a good plan. We got Clayman still, Enterprises still rolling. We could bring that up in New York City. It's gonna be a good time. Going to New York, gonna get into investment banking. But yet, had the conversation with Walmart. Called the young lady that I showed you on the screen and said, hey, Walmart's calling. They're located in this place called Bentonville, Arkansas. And I don't know where that is, and I don't think I want to go there. I didn't come to this country to just go to Tulsa, Springfield, and Bentonville, Arkansas. I'm going to New York City. And she said, well, just go take the interview. Worst case scenario could be good practice for you. Took the interview and had a few exchanges with the recruiters. And I asked him, I said, what caused you to pull my resume? Never forget his answer. His name was Felipe Barahona. He was a teacher at University of Florida, and he spent time in the Exuma Islands. And he said, Ralph, the only reason why I pulled your resume, I was thinking to myself, nah, this doesn't sound like this is going to be a good answer, because when you say the only reason, that should be something cool like great resume, great grades. I graduated cum laude from Oral Roberts University. I mean, it's not summa cum laude or anything, but it's pretty decent, right? Thought he was going to start talking about that. He said, I spent some time in Exuma a few years ago, and I had such a great time with the Bahamian people on those islands. When I saw that you were from the Bahamas, I had to pull you, I had to meet you. So me getting set up for success was the result of somebody else's efforts. You never forget kindness to you. And for you specifically, don't forget that the seeds that you sow can benefit someone that you don't know, ever. Just opening up the door, saying hello, can change the life of somebody tremendously, allowing them to fulfill their purpose because of your act of kindness. Don't forget that. So I started with Walmart, got the job in 2008. Again, I know I'm always set up for success when I think about the plans that I've had and the things that didn't work out. Keep in mind, 2008, what we say in finance, that's the year when the world went away. In New York City, everything was done. Nobody had jobs, investment banking was belly up. Companies that have been around for hundreds of years, decades went belly up. But I was at Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, and they had some of the most successful years starting in 2008 that I was a part of. So pretty amazing. So what do I do at Walmart? I manage a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. Where did I start? In the very small island of Nassau, Bahamas, 7 by 21. At the time, 350,000 people. And sometimes I never really think about how I got to where I am, and I had to do it, to go through this process. But things had to go perfectly. It's almost like someone was setting up everything for me perfectly, and I just had to listen. I just had to do my part, work, set myself up for success, and listen, and everything came together. So in summary, there's 3 phrases I like to talk about: discovery, development, and deployment. Figuring out who I am, what I want to do, making sure I'm set up to be successful. Going through the processes of failing, making bad decisions, making good decisions, being around people that help mentor me and guide me, and then watching everything kind of come to fruition once the stars align. I call that deployment. So in my 8 years with the company, a year ago, essentially, maybe 2 years ago, 7 years I look at it, I promoted 5 times. Started the company as a manager. I'm a senior director in the organization. I've had 7 jobs over the last few years, just 8 years with the company. All of this stuff happened before the age of 30. That was one of my goals. I want to be a senior director in this company by the age of 30, and I did that. I'm 32 now, and the future's looking quite bright. Quite excited. Tomorrow, what I'll do is talk to you guys about my strategies for success and how you can get started. It's a great journey. It was a lot of fun, but it came based on some structured platforms. So anyway, that's me. Again, I'm Ralph Clare. I'm from the Bahamas, and I am so happy to be a part of this.